evening, YouTube. How are we all doing today? I hope everybody had a good week and it wasn't too stressful. So, what we're going to get started on today is we're going to get started on this section right over here. We're going to start putting this in. I'm going to show you exactly how I do my feeders for these and how I run them down. This part will be in tomorrow, so I have many other things coming in. We're going to do that whole section right there, and we are going to install Kato Unitrack number 20-285. That's the extensions for the turntable. We also are going to put a little bit of turf down today. I've got a little bit of fine turf. I have some dark brown turf that's kind of already in this area. Once we get those pieces in, we'll put our glue down. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to mix the brown and tans to kind of like it make it look more natural. We're also going to be putting some of the Woodland Scenics Just lights in the roundhouse. We will probably start with the center section. I have 2 lights for that, and I'll have to get more lights for the other sections as we go. None of that is going to be glued down right now, so I can just pop the top off and install those lights, and we're going to go through that process. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic straw, and I'm going to super glue it to the top, and then I'm going to paint it to look like ductwork like I've done over at my car house. I would like to eventually put some lights in the Kato engine house here, and once we do that, we're gonna put in more trees. I got more trees coming probably tomorrow, but I would like to have some of that dry before I install that. And we might be putting in Woodland Scenics Just plug the little street lamps. We'll be putting some of those in, so we'll be adding some light and scenery to this, and we'll go from there. But what I'm going to really show you, what I really want to show you tonight, is this little rail joiner right here. See this little guy? So I want to do my feeders, but I want to run them down here. It's not as easy. Sometimes you can go on the side of a track and just solder the positive and negative to the side of the track and hide it with ballast. Well, unfortunately over here, we don't have ballast going in there. It just looks like simulated concrete that we're going to just leave it as it is. So we have to hide those feeders. And what I'm going to do tonight is, like I said, I'm going to show you how we're going to take this out, and we're going to connect it to this. But I'm going to show you all that tonight when I get to the soldering segment. I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you enjoy the model railroading experience, and I hope that I can show you some of the tricks and tips that I have done, and I hope this helps you, and I hope you have fun with the hobby. So, okay guys, before we get into the actual preparing the wires and the rail joiners and stuff like that for what I do want to talk about Atlas. I'm sure some of you are fully aware of some of their issues and stuff. Great locomotive, great company. They were really good when I needed help and stuff. But the problem that I really have with their locomotives is this. Let me get something here. This right here. I don't know if you can see. You see, that was my attempt of soldering this wire back in. So, as you can tell, we'll get it up here where you can zoom in a little bit closer. I don't know if you can see that. But here is the contact, which makes contact with the wheels and sends the power up through the locomotive. This wire basically plugs into the chassis. Now, in my opinion, when you get a wire that constantly this way, we all know that if you twist a wire enough, it breaks. And this locomotive was probably maybe just over a year old, and I know it went for as long as it did, but my problem is I don't like that. I attempted to solder it. It was a mess. It didn't work, and that's disheartening when you pay what you pay for these locomotives. I mean, I bought mine has DCC and sound, and it's not cheap. And to be honest with you, I didn't really care for that. But they did give me. I went ahead and bought extras. This is the part number, I think it is, from Atlas. I ordered four of them. Obviously, one is gone because it's on the locomotive right now, but I got extras just in case, and they're not very expensive, and they shipped them fast. I got them quick. To be honest with you, a lot of you might not like Atlas. You might love Atlas. I personally love the Atlas. I love the sounds on the in them. I love the functionality. I love the realness of them and stuff. It's just this Broadway Limited does a way better job of that, and so does Kato. Basically, they have a brass wire that's in the chassis of the locomotive and makes constant contact with that instead of a wire. So I would say I'm okay at soldering. I don't have a problem doing it. But even trying to do it that small is just, you butcher it. I butchered it. I mean, I did everything. I took it apart, cleaned it again. The wire was just so thin to strip, and it just it's not fun to fix, and it sucks when you get a locomotive, and especially with your favorite one, and it goes down like that. So that's just that. I just want to talk about that. We can get into some of the other locomotives later, but let's get into this little guy. This little guy right here. See this little metal joiner here? This is the Kato. This little guy. Now, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we'll get it when I take it apart. I'm going to show you how to pop this out, and then we're going to put it in our little tool here to help hold it, and then I'm going to show you how I solder them. Is it correct? Is it right? I don't know. I just know it works. I have no issues with it. Flux, no flux. I mean, it really doesn't matter. If it works, it works. Just do it your way. This is your layout. This is your train. Build it how you want it. This is how we're going to do this. So to get started, what I typically do is take my screwdriver on this back side of this, and I'll put it against the table, and I'll just pop it, try to pop it out. You heard that little pop? So here we go. It's really hard to tell, but there's the piece that I'm talking about. Now when you go to solder this, let's put him here. I don't know if you can see that. You see this side is really, there's nothing there. There's a split. On the other side, that's where it splits and it goes into the rail. This is the side we're working with. Working on this. And if you don't have one of these little guys, man, this is ancient. This is ancient, but it's been my best help with this situation. So yes, I have wire strippers, but I'm going to use this right now. What I like to do is strip it. I like to strip it back a little bit of ways and just grab it. Don't cut it to where it hurts, and I always twist them. Twist them, twist them, twist them. They're nice and twisted tight. So the thing is, you don't want it flat. You don't want it all the way from end to end. You want the smallest footprint you can have inside that. So I will take it with my finger and I'll bend it. And it looks like that. So then I will take it and set it up there. I think that's a little bit much. So I'm just gonna take my old trusty sprue cutters here and I'm gonna trim it back. See that little bitty? It's little bitty. Little bitty bend. 90 degree. We'll do the other wire right quick. And I do use multicolor wires. I'm out of my typical green. This is just for instructional purposes only. If you only have one color of wire, I highly recommend that you get the second color, because by the time you run the wires in this layout, oh man, any of you out there in DCC world, you know what I'm talking about. You can have a big old spider web underneath that thing, and if you don't know what's what, you can cause all kinds of problems, shorts, and all kinds of havoc. And that being said, if you do know what you're doing and you use one wire and you pay attention, you can do it fine. You can do it just like that. So there's our little pieces. I do have look at that, we just lost our piece. I do have a Milwaukee. This is easy. I mean, some of you have the full-on soldering gun. I don't. That was pretty inexpensive. I had that for work, so I just used it. Those other ones can be expensive, but I mean, you can get a pretty decent one on Amazon. I get a lot of my stuff on Amazon, and we can show you that later. So we're going to put this back in here. Okay. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's focus on that. Focus on that. So that's going to be hard to tell. So you see, I'm not fully all the way across all of them like that. This is really hard to zoom in. It's so small. Yeah, something like that. I take a little bit of flux and I just barely, you don't need much of this stuff. This stuff can be not good over time on your track. But that's what we're using tonight. That's the best way to do. And the best thing to do on that is to tin your wires. So if you are not familiar with the process, we're going to show you right now. I do have this rosin core solder wire. It's been pretty good. I like the thin stuff. I don't know what it is about this. It adheres really well to the Kato track. I've tried all kinds of, we got little, see, that's too much. That's too much. You just want to basically have it where it looks like that. Okay. So we're going to take a little bit of solder here. First, wipe your tip. Make sure it's clean, good and clean. We're going to put a little bit on here. Yes, it's smoky. And then all you do is you just touch it, get it on there. Make sure it's all the way around. See that? That's simple. Just tin it. It's all the way around. Okay. Then what I like to do is take it just a dab. I'm talking the smallest dab, and because I want it to adhere to the piece of the joiner there, I'm going to take some more solder, and then I'm going to stick this right here, and I'm just gonna lightly, quickly touch it like that, and it's on there. Now, if you get that and it's cockeyed, super easy, we can fix that. Sometimes you might get lucky and just touch the solder and clean it up. It is possible to probably fit something in there. I usually try to give a little bit of a tug test, not too hard, because it can come off there. But if you look, it's not terrible. I've done better. But we got a little pokey out right here. So we're just gonna lightly, just quickly pass by it on the hottest part. You want to smooth that out as smooth as possible. Okay. Next thing is our plastic piece. See those little, you can see it right there. You see those two little bars inside there? I usually take them out. I take my sprue cutter, clip them on the inside. And get this little dude out of here. The reason being is the solder and the wire will fight in between that. Now, if you want to be a perfectionist and you want that just right and in there, You can do better on the soldering and all that stuff. What I like, and then what you do is you run your wire down the middle, like so. And this is where you test fit. If it fits in there without pushing it out, if it goes, it made a little bit of a pop there, and it went in. Don't worry, if it goes a little bit sideways, I take an extra track and I put it in like so. I try to get it in that metal piece to line it up, and I want to hear it click like that. Okay, we're a little bit off, a little bit wonky on this side. So you can take and push it down a little bit more with a screwdriver. I popped it in a little bit. It's a little bit too far. So I'm gonna push it back out just a bit, just a hair, just a hair. I want it to fit right there, like so. And then I have an extra piece of track here. We'll try it and I'll show it. Click it in and I'll show you. So this is a double main. I put it on the wrong side, but that's fine. We'll take our little Kato tool. I never have been successful with these things. Sometimes you got to fit it up in there, and then if that don't work, gently take your screws. I use these things for everything, and it just comes out that simple. So the trick is when you see that little, you have a little problem with it going in there, but you want it to go in, you want to hear it click. There it is. And guess what? We have a hidden feeder. We have a feeder that is hidden, and that's the whole deal. Now you can do this all the way down your track. You can, if you don't like to put the ballast on here like I do, because I mean the double main is very pretty. I like the double main with the white tiles. But if you just want to run it like this and not deal with the ballast, and you want to hide your stuff, that's how I do it. Typically I'll put a green and a white one, or you can do red and black, however you want to match your feeder lines. But that's what we're going to do over there on the roundhouse part. So let me get this put together fully and I'll show you the finished product. So be right back. Okay, now that you got this completed, you see they're in there, they're tucked in there. The problem is going to be when you go to run this up here, you got this, okay? If I would have put this one, I can flip it around and put this one back there, and that might mitigate some of that. If you run into that, just pop it out, turn around and see what you can do. Now that you got this, you see how I got these? If you turn those just right, when you go up to the roundhouse table, it's a flush fit. You see that? It's perfect. If you have those turned around the other way, the problem is you end up getting into this surface. You're gonna have to trim it back and all that. And we don't need to cut the base of the roundhouse. We don't need to. If we do this the right way, run it to where they're back behind there. That's why I put the 90-degree bends. It's super tight. It's super good. I don't have any issues with it. I mean, it's not falling off. And now that we got this part, let's go to the layout and install it and see how that goes. Okay, so what I've got here is, number one, make sure you're not running your trains around. That's how you get derailments and how you get accidents. Nobody wants accidents, right? Okay, so what I did is I took a little skewer, poked a little hole about in the area that I knew it was going to be in there, and I just pushed them down in here like so. Let's move you over a little bit here, wrong way. So we're going to push you in like so. Make sure your wires are straight, and just kind of feed them down there gently. And it's going to be around about where it needs to be now. Now we cannot connect it because we don't have this part right here out. So what we have to do is Okay, so at the layout, what I've done is I have poked a couple of holes right before that goes in. You see that right there? Now what I did is I took a skewer and ran it all the way through, and then I wallered the hole out a little bit back and forth, so I have adjustment this way. It's kind of hard to tell, and it's hard to get in here and do the exact thing, but you run your stuff, your feeders right down through the hole like so. Now we can't hook up because we have this. If you just pop this little guy up right here, you take the screw out. Take the screw out like so. It's a little guy, so take your time. There's no rush. And then take this out. You take your other segment that goes in there, and just set it in place. Make sure before you put the screw in, this little screw hole is lined up, this little hole right here is lined up, and then typically I try to put the screw on the screwdriver, and we'll just screw it in. And then we're going to take this, and hopefully if everything lined up, if I did it right, we're missing a joiner right there. So let me take one out of here. I want to put this in here because I want to make sure it's locked in like so. And then make sure everything's lined up. You hear the click. And move that in there, and that part is done. What I recommend is back over here, let's turn you a little bit. When you come over here, you need to come to this side, opposite of that, because when you come off the turntable, you know, if you go too far, too fast, you don't want your train to run right off the end. So I'm going to take this end, take this out, take my little screw, and I'm going to put this here. Now, we do have a problem with room over here, so we might have to modify how I do the structures and how I hide them. The good thing is I don't have anything locked down. This little sandbox is not locked down, so I can put something there and just move the sandbox around if I have to. You could set it anywhere on the layout. That's why I don't like to glue certain things down. We're gonna get to these little ends, and we'll do that back over the table. Okay, so what you get else in the box are the ends, the end pieces over there, right? So we're just gonna take that out. You get, this is the piece that plugs into that part I just installed, where the little 3 tracks are at. And then you get these are basically simulated bent track. You can paint them up to match a track and all that stuff, and it blends in well. I don't know if I will or not. I don't know if I'm gonna paint any track. I mean, if you do, fine. I just got feet upon feet upon feet to do that, and I might do that as a final detail. But as of right now, let's show you how to put this together, and I'm gonna go ahead and glue them in. You don't have to, I don't think, but I do because I want to make sure I put this in that it doesn't fall somewhere where I can't see it. So you're going to cut your little sprue. Now, I'm going to take this guy off here. Take that out. What you get is you have a little slot that is right here, and then there's a little tiny hole right here. So in the part, there's your piece that slots. What happens is you put it in there and you pull it back to lock it in, and then put this little piece in the hole. That's why I say this is I glue them down, because I've had them where they come out, so put it in there and glue it. So what I'm going to do is just take a little dab of Tamiya, and I just dab it right there. And that's it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy stuff. Do the other one here, show you that. Put it in the slot, pull it back. Make sure, it's kind of hard to tell, but make sure it's in the hole. I think we can see, yeah, it's in there. You can tell. So we'll just take a little bit of Tamiya glue. That's that ultra thin stuff, so it goes down in there. And because see, even if I didn't glue them in, they're wobbly. I don't really care for them. If you touch that wrong, it comes off. I've already broke a tab off of one before. So I recommend that you just kind of glue them in there. And what that's for is if so your train doesn't go off the end of the turntable there, in case if you forget to throttle up or something like that. So let's put it back on the layout. Let's go over there and install. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy. You just line it up, pop it in. When you see this lined up here, you know you got it in where you need it. Fortunately for me, this is I probably need to put one in here, which means I'm gonna end up moving this and see if it hides over here, because I really do not want a locomotive to come off and come, crashing into the house and stuff like that. So some of the stuff is just figure out on the fly, and just figure out what works best for you to hide stuff. Like I said, I don't like to glue anything down, because if I ever do maintenance and hopefully I never have to move anytime soon. But if you ever have to do maintenance or something, I can just take this out without ruining the scenery too much. I mean, yeah, I might tear a little bit of this up, but that's super easy to fix. But I don't want to glue it down and tear the product up trying to get it out of there to fix it. One more quick thing, we need to put this little black thing, pop it back in, and your screw is hidden. Same over here on this one. So that's that. We're going to take this one out, and we'll look at get the other segment. And yeah, so that's how I do that. When we come back, hopefully I have this all assembled on this side. Okay, this is the paper mill. You can see the lights look really good. The street lamps look phenomenal. They are so small. You can see how big it is, and look at the light. They're just amazing. And you can adjust the brightness with the controller that you have from Woodland Scenics Just Play. It lights up the layout so good, and you could do nighttime operations if you wanted. I just love these little in-scale street lamps. Let's come over here to the gravel yard. There's the lights in there. And you can see a little corner street lamp over here. You see, and I got one in the back. It lights up phenomenal, and I love the shadows that it casts. It's almost realistic. I plan on adding all kinds of little lights like that, because it's just super cool. I mean, even if you just sit here and just watch it run around, I just love it. I just love it. So let's pan over here. I do have a light in the refinery here. It's just a white LED. But here is some of the other lights that I have. Again, I love that because you can see inside. You can see a little guy pushing a broom or something in there. Super cool. It lights up so well. It looks way brighter on film than it does in real life. But it is bright at night. And you can adjust the brightness. You can turn it down or just make it what you want. I got my street lamps there. Super cool. I love it. I love it. We'll go over to the depot, and there's the light in the depot. That's where Santa is at. And what I love about some of this is that it looks like a little scene. I don't know if you can tell. Let's try to zoom in here. But you got little people sitting on the bench. Kind of hard to tell. But I love looking through little spots like that. It looks pretty good. And like I said, I'm not a professional. I just kind of like make it what it is. You know, make what I want. It's your layout. Don't let nobody tell you how to do it. There's the coal mine. I got a lamp here. I've got it all lit up inside there. This here, you can put the light in here and run the wire down inside this tube right here, and it works great. You know, so this is what it looks like when it's dark. It's actually not that bad. I plan on putting quite a few more lights so you could actually do a full-on operation. You know, we got a locomotive running through getting ready to come through the mountain here, I think. Nope, he's not. Sorry about that. My lovely wife got this at Hobby Lobby, just so you know. It lights up too. Pretty cool ambient light. Okay, that's a nighttime tour. I hope you guys enjoy this. We will get into the lighting storms and stuff like that pretty soon. And it's from Broadway Limited. It's a Thunder system, and I do have it hooked up to a subwoofer, so it sounds amazing on a subwoofer. It just sounds so real, so real. I love the shadows. It just gives it that little bit of realism. If you'd like, I'm going to do a real quick lightning storm so you see it. There's a little button I've got down here. If you want to hear that better, you can put on a set of headphones and listen to it. Alright, one more for the road, and you guys have a good night, have a great weekend, God bless you, and start building trains. Have fun with it. Do your thing. See you guys.